71 BC, a year in Rome's history destined to be remembered forever. The year when Spartacus and his army, once a nightmare haunting the Roman Empire, were finally swallowed by the darkness of defeat. This defeat was not just the fall of an army, it was the extinguishing of a dream, a hope, and the last spark of freedom. After crushing the rebellion, Rome made a decision: there could be no misunderstanding. No slave would think they could shake the empire. No prisoner would believe chains could break. No poor soul would dare face the mountains of power standing above them. For this, the Roman general Marcus Licinius Crassus decided to set the most horrific example in history. The Appian Way, the main road into Rome, a road where caravans traveled, merchants' voices echoed, soldiers patrolled, and crowds passed daily. But that day, the road was no longer alive. It had become a road of death. Crassus ordered the captured rebels to be crucified along the road for miles. Thousands, one by one, hung upon crosses. It was not just punishment, it was a silent declaration, a declaration the world would remember forever. At first, the soldiers thought it was just another order. But when hundreds, then thousands of crosses rose toward the sky, the sight became so terrifying that even the soldiers' courage wavered. The road stretched endlessly, but fear stretched even longer. Days passed, and with each new day, new crosses, new bodies, and new lessons hung there. No screams, no protests, just a long, deep silence that struck every traveler's heart like a hammer. This was not only the death of rebels, it was a wall of fear Rome had built around itself. Crassus's goal was not just punishment. He wanted the rebellion to never rise again. He wanted the idea of freedom erased from the minds of slaves. He wanted the name Spartacus to be forgotten. But history does not always obey. Travelers passing that road lowered their eyes in fear. Mothers covered their children's eyes. Slaves walked silently, their steps weighed down even more by chains of terror. No speeches were given, no announcements made. None were needed, because the silent crosses spoke louder than any words ever could. Yet the story does not end there. The rebellion of Spartacus, despite its defeat, left a spark, a battle of ideas, a question, a realization that empires built on slavery are never truly secure. Spartacus was hope for thousands of slaves. He was a symbol of freedom that shook an entire empire. The Roman economy, built on slavery, was exposed in its fragility. Though Spartacus fell, his struggle revealed the truth. An empire built on enslaving men is doomed to weaken from within. Centuries passed. Rome, the great empire that thought itself eternal, crumbled to dust. Crassus's name survived only in books, a general, a wealthy man, a ruler. But Spartacus, his name became a symbol. Today, he is remembered not just as a warrior, but as a legend of resistance, fighting for justice, standing against slavery. A man who was once a slave, but whose courage towered over kings. A man who knew he might fail, yet understood that fighting tyranny itself is victory. And this is the truth that thousands of Roman crosses could not bury. The long, silent rows along the Appian Way are now history. The crosses turned to dust, the bodies to ashes, but one thing remains alive today. Freedom is Spartacus, and Spartacus never dies.